Jusuf Nurkic, effective against the Spurs, 15 points, 6 boards, but he played just 25 minutes. Since he returned to the lineup 4 games ago, he's played 25 minutes 3 times, 28 minutes once. So should Jusuf Nurkic be playing more minutes? Jared.
All right, so the reason I asked this question was because when I was watching the game last night, I was surprised to see, and I know Ed Davis was playing well, and that with Ed Davis on the court as the center in that lineup, the Blazers made their run and got back into the game. But I was surprised to see Nurkic sit on the bench until 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And so it led me to then think, well, how many minutes has he played? And I went and looked after the game, and I was surprised to see that he's playing about 25 minutes a game since he came back. And I know he probably had some kind of minutes restriction when he first came back, but that shouldn't be there anymore. And I really think Jusuf Nurkic should be playing more minutes. I mean, if you look at like the good centers in the NBA, and I think that you can group Jusuf Nurkic in with that group, none of them are playing under 30 minutes a game, and most of them are playing around 32, 33 minutes a game. And Jusuf Nurkic is younger, and he hasn't played, a lot of games in his career, and he's never had this kind of workload. So I see the argument about maybe not, throwing him out there for so many minutes. But he's playing his most effective basketball of the season right now. He's taking it aggressively to the basket. He's shooting a high percentage, about 56% over the first, past 4 games. He's playing great defense. He's really effective. I think he's a better player than the players that they're giving extra minutes to at the expense of his minutes. And I just think a player like Jusuf Nurkic, I mean, you look at this starting lineup right now, in the past 4 games, CJ's playing 39 minutes a game, Dame's playing 36, Ed Davis is playing, not Ed Davis, Evan Turner is playing 33, and Al-Farouq Aminu is playing 31. And then you have Nurkic playing 25. I just think you should put his numbers back up there to where he's playing. I mean, he was, before he got injured, he was playing about 30 minutes a game. But these are his per 36 averages over the past 4 games. 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks. And he's doing what we wanted him to do all season now, in which he's taking it aggressive to the basket. He's hitting those shots inside because he's being more aggressive. He's shooting a high percentage. I just think you have to have him out on the court more.
I'm going to go on the opposite of this one with you. And you mentioned 2 things, and you were right on about both of them. We had different takes on it. The workload. Yeah. I think that's a big reason why we're not seeing a lot of minutes. Jusuf Nurkic, the most games he's ever started in the season was last year. It was 48 games. Yeah. And so right now he's played 27 so far this season. The 48, and when we talked at the beginning of the season, we asked how many games should we expect him to play. And I think we were all right. If he played 60, we were all pretty happy about that. And so if that's your expectation, if before the season was you'd be happy if he plays 60, then you can't work him 32 to 33 minutes every night, because right now he's already at 27 games and he's never started more than 48 in a season. So if he can start 60 or more this year, and before he got hurt he was only playing 28 minutes a game, so 25, 28, it is a few minutes and it does matter. But I think what you said also, in that they might be, trying to work him back up into shape, into game shape, is also true. But you can't just throw him out there for 33 to 35 minutes a game every night, and then if he does get hurt, say, oh, well, how did that happen? How did our big guy get hurt? Well, it's because you played him 33 to 35 minutes every night when he wasn't ready for it. Or if he wears down come March and April when the games really matter, and you can't say, why isn't he playing as well? And it's because he's tired. It's because he's never done this before. He's never gone through this full marathon that is the NBA season. So I think the way they've been managing his minutes has been good. I mean, there are games, you can point to the Nets game where he didn't play in that fourth quarter that they ended up losing at the beginning of the year. There are certain games where I think you could point to and ask, honestly, why wasn't he playing there? And maybe last night as well. But for the most part, I think it's been pretty good. And statistically, he's been about the same. The other thing you're right about is he's definitely playing better offensively since the injury. He's shot better than 50% in each of the last 3 games. He's averaging about the same amount of points, but he's being more efficient doing so. And he's been exactly what he was last year. This is one thing that surprised me. In terms, we all think of Jusuf Nurkic, and he went 14 to 16. He was always great. And we've been kind of frustrated a little bit with him this year. He's averaging basically the same amount of points. He's averaging, a rebound or 2 less and half a block less. But he's been pretty close to the same player he was last year.
He's averaging fewer assists and fewer steals, and he's shooting worse. So I think the things we've been frustrated by when watching Jusuf Nurkic are those things where he hasn't been playing as well, and especially it's a shooting percentage.
Yeah.
it's missing all those shots close at the rim, and it seems like maybe he's starting to figure that out, and that's a great thing for the Blazers.
I liked the third quarter in particular stands out to me with last night's game against the Spurs, because there was a point when Dame got hurt, they needed someone to step up and get that production. And I want to say he reeled off 6 or 8 straight points for the team, and he was aggressive.
Yeah.
And seeing that, you saw the inside working. So then the confidence came. He was able to hit the jumper from deep. He just looked a lot more like that Jusuf Nurkic that we saw last season, where he was just in the flow of things. The game was coming to him. He had his back to the basket. He was willing to go straight up. The passing was there. So yeah, I agree with Nate that I don't think that the minutes should be going up that much. I think if there's a hot hand and he's really feeling it, you got to let it ride. But I feel like this is more of a marathon mode than it is a sprint with this guy, and I don't think he can afford to put him out there as much as he wants to. And I think that Stotts sees the production, and he's looking at this and he's going, God, I could put him out there. But he just can't risk it, because then it's going to be a silly play, or it's just going to be a wear and tear type injury that lingers around for multiple games. And instead he's saying, if we would have rested him here or there, maybe I get that back. Maybe this doesn't happen. We're totally guessing, and you're trying to do the best you can as a manager, not just as a coach in this standpoint. But I agree with him. I think that those minutes, if he's around 25 to 28, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I mean, Stotts knows more about basketball than
all of us combined.
Yeah. And so you've got to put your trust in him to manage those minutes effectively. I just think that this argument that because he hasn't played a lot of games, he hasn't started a lot of games in his career, that you should keep him to this 25 to 28 minute threshold, I just think that's low. I think that I wouldn't want him out there playing the kind of minutes that Dame or CJ is playing. I don't think he's ready for that exact reason. But I don't know. I think that Jusuf Nurkic can handle 30 to 32 minutes per game, and I think those extra 5 to 7 minutes of productive play from him would really help the Blazers.
And for a team that scores, you're right.
Yeah.
Having him on the floor, he's a much better scoring option than what Ed Davis provides off the bench for him.